Hi, boys and girls. This is Mr. Crandall again. I'm going to be reading to you now one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. It's called If I Ran the Circus. The dedication in here says, "This book is for my dad, Big Ted of Springfield, the finest man I'll ever know. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelik's store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans," said young Morris McGurk, "if I clean up the cans." "Now, a fellow like me," said young Morris McGurk, "could get rid of this junk with a half an hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down that dead tree and haul off those old cars, there are just two or three, and then the whole place would be ready, you see. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelik's store in the great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Sneelik will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelik is one of my friends. He might even help out, doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and the pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night." What an opening night! What a night! What a sight! I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowds will crowd in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin, with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, by my horn-tooting apes from the jungles of Jorn, where the very best horn-tooting apes are all born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs, and some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right in, this way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus the Circus McGurkus is. Here, on stage 1, from the ocean of Ulf, is a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf. Who can stand on 1 whisker, this wonderful Rolf? On the top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called Frum comes this drum-tummied snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb. And you'll now meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelik will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelik is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. And on stage number 4, see the wily Waloo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso, or lasso. With a flip of the hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelik. I'm sure he won't mind. And now here is a hoodwink who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The show of all shows, there's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Bigger Barut, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm, and then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelik, who likes to help out, as I have said. And now come to this spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot, who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not. Such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow. A start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off of your shoulsters. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelik fling his baton, and my organ McGurkus come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumble-ding din. That is super stupendous, 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 and when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then a fluff-muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line, a fine flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a fibble will carry the flummox's tail, while on top of the flummox 3 harp-twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3-snarper harp, while a bolster blows bloops on a 3-nozzled blueser, a nolster blows floops on a 1-nozzled noozer, and then comes a lion, who's partly a trout, and then more stuff for 45 minutes about. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. The fros march on 2s, and the 2s march on fros. I don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No former performers performed this performance. This stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big sticklebush trees, slides a man, what a man, on his roller skis, and he'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance it's Sneelik, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. And now here in this cage is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as the spotted atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds. And he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelik is just the right kind of a man who can manage. I'm sure he won't mind. Then I'll let Sneelik off for a few minutes' rest, while high over your heads you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezy trapezing, my Zoomazoop troop from West Upper Bendeezing, who never quite know, while they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch what one and who will catch whom, or if who will catch which by the what and just where, or just when and just how, in which part of the air. Woo-wee! What a circus! My Circus McGurkus. My workers love work. They say, work us, please work us. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises you'd never see half if you had 40 eyeses. And now, again Sneelik, brave Sneelik is back, risking life on my patented, life-risking track. While the speedsters I call my colliding collusions race round in swift car called abrasion contusions. And Sneelik just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He'll be simply delighted. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelik, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly, and slap him around, then he'll pin him down fastly, and pin both his shoulders tight flat on the mat. Kid Sneelik will love it. I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through, by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure Trainer Sneelik can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts, while I wheel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number 1, with an aim that aims true, spouts a spout that spouts a spout that spouts Sneelik to whale number 2. And then whale number 2 spouts his spout like a gun, and that spouts old Sneelik right back to whale 1. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelik gets spouted about, just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jocks, and Sir Jeers, clatter into the tent, and while everyone cheers, stage a roust about joust with their boxing glove spears. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top of my tent, look, the star of my show, great daredevil Sneelik, the world's bravest type, he comes pulled through the air by 3 Siberian snipe, on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white, and all biting their fingernails off in their fright, great Sneelik soars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose. He starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out of alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel, and he plunges down, down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds that he has a big circus behind. So now, what I would like you to do in your packet is you should find a paper like this. It says, If I Ran the Circus. It says, fill in the blanks and finish the picture to help Morris McGurk tell about his newest circus act. So it says, oh, the brave and the daring blank. With his lucky clover, he tightropes over blank. So then there's a picture that needs finished, because right now, he's not tightroping over anything. Now, if you want to be fancy, you could try to make a rhyme. You might say, oh, the brave and the daring Andy Dwyer. With his lucky clover, he tightropes over a bunch of hippos of fire, or something like that. But you could try to make it rhyme. It needs some color, and it needs to be finished. Have a great time, work hard, and I will see you later.